Those are the victory horns, ladies and gentlemen. And they sound for one man, but really, they sound for us all because we were the winners. Anybody who watched Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk over those 12 rounds, we are the winners. We are the lucky ones. But in the end, undisputed is now spelled USYK. Oleksandr Usyk, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, earns a split decision win against Tyson Fury in an absolutely incredible battle. And we are here to react to it right now here on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel. I am Mike Heck, and joining me, probably equally as giddy, if not more so, my good friend New York Rick. He is here. I mean, New York Rick, Oleksandr Usyk goes out and does the damn thing. Your immediate thoughts right out the gate.
He freaking did it. He freaking did it. He freaking did it. David slayed Goliath. It's absolutely incredible what this man has been able to do as a cruiserweight, and then coming up to heavyweight and beating what many considered the best heavyweight of our era. He's beaten Joshua. He's beaten Fury. The dude he's just magical. He's just absolutely incredible. And to do this all on the back of, coming from a country that's at war right now, what more can you say about Usyk? One of the all-time great boxers. Certainly I think, more to be done at heavyweight to kind of cement that legacy there. But if you combine the weight classes and just think about him skill for skill, one of the all-time greats. Just incredible. What a performance, man.
Freaking, I mean, the whole fight was unbelievable. Just the pot, as soon as the rap performance ended, things just got turned up to a billion. The walkouts were incredible. Everything about it, Buffer's introduction, he was on it. Everything about it was great. And then the fight started, and Usyk's so serious. He's got that incredible mustache. Fury's kind of playing around a little bit. And the first couple rounds are just super, super close, but you felt like Usyk was getting real comfortable in there, and Fury just hadn't really found his footing. And then towards the end of the third round, you started to see the momentum switch towards Tyson Fury, even if you scored the third for Usyk, which I wouldn't complain. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, it was Tyson Fury all day long. Usyk starts to turn it on an 8, and then round 9, the tides completely turn because Oleksandr Usyk hurts Tyson Fury badly, has him up against the ropes. The ropes are literally holding Tyson Fury's frame up on a couple of different occasions. Called a knockdown, referee counts, Fury's okay, and then as soon as the count ends, so does the round. The bell rings, and he's saved by the bell, and then the final 3 rounds just sort of add to the just incredible theater of this fight. So right out the gate, there are a couple other burning questions about this fight, but how did you score it? Did the judges get it right in your opinion?
Yeah, I had it 114, 113 Usyk. I gave rounds 3 through 7 and 12 to Tyson Fury, and I gave the rest to Usyk with the 10-8 for the knockdown. So that's how I had it. 114, 113, Oleksandr Usyk.
Yeah, I didn't know where the cards were going to go because I saw people saying Usyk was up around, and I basically kind of got to the point where it's anything from Fury up 2 rounds to Usyk up 2 rounds, all of those are in play. I feel like all those cards are in play. Could have gotten a draw. Everything was in play. But in the end, I do think the judges got it. The right man won. Even the Fury scorecard, I have no issue with because just some of those rounds are just razor close. But one of the big questions coming out of this was I don't think there would be controversy in the cards. Was there controversy in round 9? Should that fight have been stopped? Because a lot of people felt that perhaps Fury did get saved by the bell, but if it's not an undisputed title fight, referee probably steps in and calls that one. Did the ref do it right and allowed this fight to continue?
Yeah, I had absolutely no issue with that being called a knockdown. Seeing a lot of chatter about this, but to me, for one, yes, this is an undisputed heavyweight championship, something that hasn't happened in 25 years. I'm okay with giving Tyson Fury the opportunity to fight back into it, and to his credit, did, right? Certainly, I didn't have him winning the majority of the rounds after that. In fact, I only had him winning 1, and it was the 12th. But clearly, he was still boxing. He was still in that fight and still competitive. So the right call, in my opinion. Could it have been a stoppage? I guess you could make an argument for it. I'm okay with it ultimately being a knockdown.
If boxing had the Bubba O'Reilly video like UFC events do, that 9th round, that moment, that's a Bubba O'Reilly moment. Like that
Oh
is a
yeah.
game-changing, sport-changing moment by Oleksandr Usyk just out of nowhere. It was just freaking wild. Our Slack channel was just blowing up with just incredible, oh my God, all capital letters. It was just sensational stuff. So
It
another
it came
question that
from no
oh, please.
it just came from absolutely nowhere. It seemed like, from rounds 3 through 7, which I scored for Fury, the uppercuts were landing. The jab was sturdy. He was keeping Usyk away. The momentum had shifted where Usyk wasn't pressing and Tyson Fury was the one controlling the pace. That outcome, the idea that like he's the one to rock Tyson as opposed to the other way around, just like wasn't something I could have foreseen coming. And especially after how Fury had looked in rounds 3 through 7. So just incredible, man. Like Usyk is, I'm out of words to say about the man. Like he's just absolutely incredible.
Do you think Tyson played around too much in there? I don't think it affected him too
No,
much, but I see a lot of that, Tyson's kind of playing around like he would do. Like maybe he should have done in the Francis fight, but he didn't even play around that much with Francis, if that makes sense.
I'd almost think that. I'd almost think the opposite, right? Like that's Tyson when he's kind of like in his bag, when he's flowing and when he's doing his thing. Like that's how he fights. And so I'd almost think the Ngannou fight where he's more serious and just kind of looking a little bit lost. I still can't really quite explain what happened in that fight. Is the odd version of Tyson, is the aberration. And this version, like, look, he got hit a few good times. Sometimes when he's really hurt, he likes to pretend he's not. And sometimes he's just playing around and mugging up for the crowd. So no, I think that's exactly what Tyson does when he's most comfortable. So I thought that was not out of the ordinary, and didn't think that was like what cost him the fight. Getting absolutely rocked is what cost him the fight.
I think it added to all the pomp and circumstance surrounding it. I
Oh yeah.
think him kind of playing around like that just added to it. It was the perfect time for that date, that fight, the venue, everything about it. It was just so good. There's very few times where you watch we hype up a boxing match and like some weirdness happens, but that you just immediately want to go watch it again. And this is one of those fights. I want to go back as soon as we're done here. I can't because the UFC's on, but I want to go watch it again. Like I was that thrilled with how this all played out. It's just such a memorable fight. So let me ask you this, New York Rick, and I know it with MMA and the UFC, we're become prisoners of the moment. It's recency bias. We play that. Boxing, I don't know if we feel the same weight of things in the immediate aftermath. Is Oleksandr Usyk the best fighter in the world right now, pound for pound? Is he the best boxer in the world right now, or still more work to do with the Inoues and some of the other guys?
Yeah, we had this debate heading into it in the preview show for this fight, and I said that I think Usyk's going to remain number 3 in my book. Currently, I've got Crawford and Inoue ahead of him. I think he still remains there just because, like, again, in most of these pound for pound rankings, Tyson Fury isn't ranked, right? When you think about somebody like Terrence Crawford, who beat Errol Spence, who was another top pound for pound fighter, that impact is going to be felt for a long time until something kind of takes away from Terrence's shine. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. And Inoue has just been absolutely demolishing people. So I would love it. But I do think the two people ahead of him in most people's books, certainly I think, I believe somebody on the preview show had Canelo ahead of even Usyk. I think probably Usyk is now comfortably number 3. I don't see him passing Crawford or Inoue. Could there be an argument? Certainly. Like as I said, I consider Tyson the best heavyweight of this generation. Maybe that will soon change to Usyk. But I think he'll be number 3. He's still going to be 3 in my book, but not because he's not worthy. Let's put it that way. Like this is 1A, 1B, 1C type situation. Like he is absolutely worthy of a title like that.
Terrence Crawford's reaction to the fight on Twitter: man, y'all better put some respect on Usyk, man. He definitely a candidate for number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world. I'm no hater. He beat the man that beat the man in a bigger division, giving what he's already done. Salute, brother. Class from Bud Crawford.
It's a 1A, 1B, 1C type of thing. Like these dudes are just that good. Like it's hard. It's really difficult. It would be semantical at this point. Like if anybody's making an argument for one or the other, it's because they're trying to make an argument for one or the other. You can't begrudge somebody for having a different fighter on top of the pound for pound list, because those guys are all really worthy and really deserving. Like, absolutely incredible performance, and certainly I wouldn't be surprised to see many people having him higher.
Yeah. This is not a conversation that should result in yelling and screaming. This should be a conversation, and yeah, he's really good. You might be right.
These three
Cheers,
are
brother.
amazing. And then you throw Canelo in there, and he's freaking incredible too. Like, it's just like the quality of boxing that we've got right now is next level.
Remember when everyone said boxing was dead like 3 years ago?
Yeah, so it's
boxing's dead. Yeah, get the hell out of here. Are you kidding me? This was so good. This was so damn good. And we already know this headache. By the way, if you guys weren't aware of this, if you're sort of newer boxing fans, more on the casual side, Oleksandr Usyk is the undisputed champion for 2 weeks, and then he will no longer be the undisputed champion because he's going to get stripped of one of the belts, because boxing's kind of dumb like that.
We think it seems like it will go that way. It's what the IBF is saying. So it's not a foregone conclusion yet, but it has been like projected. It has been forecasted that the vibes are out there that this will be a short-lived undisputed reign, and then there will be a vacated title because of the fact that Usyk, and it's important to know why, because of the fact that Usyk and Fury have a rematch clause. So it would likely be enacted by Fury, and they'll be fighting again. I believe it's October, and so the IBF is interested in moving that belt along. Now, why, after we get the first undisputed heavyweight champion in 25 years, would that be the case? And why would we want to do that? I don't know. But that's what it is. The governing bodies are going to do what the governing bodies are going to do. But for 2 weeks, you get to celebrate this and enjoy this. And shout out to Usyk.
Yeah, 5 months later, they're going to do it again, and it's going to be even bigger than this. I was so fascinated coming in. I am a million times more fascinated now. Like, if Tyson Fury had won, I still would be interested, and I would still be curious to see the adjustments Usyk could make. But now that Usyk went out there and just did what he did today, I mean, I don't know if there's another fight that I'm more interested in right now, like across the board. Like, I just cannot wait to see what Tyson Fury can do and try to get that one back. And then we're going to run it back a third time, which is going to be incredible too. I'm so excited for the rematch, more so because Fury lost this fight
100 times. And I would say this fight was more about the unknowns, right? Tyson Fury is coming off a piss poor performance against Francis Ngannou. Like, I love that moment happened for Francis Ngannou. That was the worst version of Tyson Fury we've ever seen by a million miles. He just did not look good in that fight. And so I think that had a lot of people wondering, like, what Tyson Fury is going to show up. Is he still committed to this? Can he still reach that level that he's been able to reach in the past? I think we've answered that, right? If you think about rounds 3 through 7 and you look at what he was able to do against a very aggressive Usyk, you can see how Tyson Fury wins this fight, right? And there will be some who have scored it for Tyson Fury. I believe super producer Casey did. And so you think about that fight and you say, now I know Tyson Fury can compete with Oleksandr Usyk. I guess a lot of people will be wondering the opposite question. And I think that's the other unknown was, is Usyk going to be able to overcome Tyson Fury's size? And now we know the answer. We know the answer to that question as well. So now we're heading into the rematch with both the unknowns, or kind of the most significant unknowns, answered, which is that Fury's still a top heavyweight and Usyk can overcome Tyson Fury's size. And now we just get to run back one of the best fights of the year. It's for potentially many, many belts, not undisputed, but many, many belts and bragging rights, and also a potential date with Anthony Joshua on the line for potentially Tyson Fury. Usyk, I think, would be a harder sell for it, but honestly, looking the way he looks, and then Joshua, having really picked up some major wins since the Usyk fights, I don't think it's off the table. So a lot on the line in the rematch, but also I think a lot of the unknowns answered, and now we just get to enjoy two of the top heavyweights at their absolute best.
God, I can't wait for October. Man, that's going to be incredible. Very excited. Let's bring in producer extraordinaire Casey Lyden, and then we'll answer some questions. Casey, you scored this one for Tyson Fury. I feel like we were kind of on the same page on a lot of the rounds. I do feel like Usyk sort of edged it out, but I have no complaints about you scoring Tyson Fury at all. Oh, there's the cards. Okay.
I haven't seen this yet.
Neither have I.
Yeah, so I kind of gave it a peek already. So it's not too easy to read, sorry. But I mean, I'll make it a little bigger for you guys.
There we go. Yeah, so, just cover my empty face.
Yeah. So the middle scorecard is the judge that gave it to Fury. And I was actually everything's identical on my scorecard and that guy's scorecard except for round 10 and 11. I had it switched. I gave round 10 to Fury and round 11 to Usyk. But all three judges gave round 10 to Usyk. And for round 11, it looks like two judges gave it for Usyk, and I also gave it to Usyk. But my total score was the same as the judge in the middle. But so many of these rounds were just really close. They just were really close. Just really close.
Round 2 was the one that I knew right off the bat was going to be a tough one to score. I also thought round 7 was going to be tougher to score, but it seems like it was unanimous for Fury, unless my eyes are deceiving me, because that felt like a very close round as well. The later rounds, obviously the activity's waning, right? They've been through such a war. The volume goes down and all of a sudden it gets harder to score. So I completely understand these scorecards. And to Mike's earlier point, like, this all makes sense. None of these, I'm not looking at any of these cards and going like, what the hell happened here? You know?
Yeah, me too. Like there was, and I was like, John, nobody said anything. I was like, what are you watching? Everyone was like, okay, I can see that. I think that's kind of like, it's not a robbery. It was just a heck of a close fight that somebody had to. Well, actually, someone didn't have to win. It could have been a draw, but somebody won. That's all. And I look forward to the rematch. That's really. Yes. I look forward to the rematch.
Can I ask you guys something? So this is my ranking, and I've said this a few times, but I think it's worth repeating today because I stand by it, and it tends to prove me correct most of the time, or at least like this is my personal feeling. Let's see if you guys identify with it. Best boxing fights are the number one thing in combat sports for me. I'm going to only compare boxing and MMA because those are the most prominent and most dominant that most of the people watching this are probably watching and we watch. High level, best boxing fights. High level MMA fights. Mid-level MMA fights. Low-level MMA fights. Mid-level boxing, low-level boxing. That's my tier. That's my hierarchy. I love MMA. I will watch the worst MMA fight before I'll watch like a mid boxing fight or a low level boxing fight. But the absolute best boxing, I don't get that same feeling from MMA. It's just the stories that you can tell across 12 rounds or even 10 rounds in some cases, but the stories that you can tell in 12 rounds of fighting are just different than what you can do in 3 or 5. To me, the magnificence of like the ability to get yourself off the canvas or switch the momentum and the ways that plays across 12 rounds, the drama and the storytelling in it, it's just unmatched. And the best boxing fights just draw me in a way that the best MMA fights don't. But it's number 2. MMA for me is number 2.
Yeah, I get like in these big, super high level 12-round fights, there are multiple times where we either put it in our little private chat or we said to ourselves, "Oh, this fight's over," in a way, like, "Oh, Fury's gonna take over." Okay, it was close a couple rounds, but Fury's gonna take over, and then or you go the other way. Oh, Usyk's gonna win. Oh, it's all his fight, and then somehow Fury wins a couple rounds after the fight arguably could be stopped, in the 9th round or what? Yeah, 9th round. You're right. The storylines that high level boxing can do over 12 rounds is incredible. And to me, the only MMA match that kind of gets into that category was Yuri versus Glover. but that's like a once in a million type of fight. We like a lot of us consider that the greatest fight ever in terms of 5 rounds. But and why that fight, we love that fight so much is because the ups and downs, the
momentum swings are just crazy.
Yeah, and in boxing, we just get that more often because these guys are just so good and they're so highly specialized in this one skill, just these 2 fists, that they make adjustments. And then other people make adjustments, and then pretty soon it's round 12. And yeah, God, this fight was great. On my scorecard, I had the fight entirely up for grabs in the 12th round. I think maybe your scorecards. Did you guys score round 12 for Fury?
I did. So I didn't have it up for grabs because I had Fury down to heading into 12. So I gave him 12, but I still had him losing to Usyk by 1.
Okay. So yeah, on my score, I had the middle guy, like the middle judge. So for me in the 12th round, I was like, oh my God, this is it. But either way, incredible fight. A fight.
High drama.
High expectations, and it delivered from all aspects. The walk, like, I'm glad we talked about the walkouts because a lot of times we get these great walkouts and so much happens in the fight, we kind of forget to talk about that. Dude, that was awesome. That was just the walkouts were great. The different styles and maybe that's what's missing from the MMA thing, because that build. I know we get the build, we get it's different. I don't know, it's just different.
PFL
the
tries to
pageantry.
do that.
The pageantry.
Like Doumbé was awesome. Doumbe's walkout was
It's a good
incredible.
call. Yeah. It's a good call. Doumbé is an example of what that can be.
But then they're still wearing, uniforms. So there's, it's just boxing's boxing.
I get it. I totally get what you're saying. It ramps the atmosphere up. Before the fight even starts, you're already more excited. I totally get that. I totally agree with that.
And it carries over. Yeah.
By the way, I want to shout out Jed Meshew because on the preview show for this fight, he said Usyk early, Usyk late. He said that's exactly how this fight's going to play out, and that's exactly how this fight really did play out. Like it was the middle rounds where Usyk sometimes can drop those, and Fury looked like he was on his way to cruising through them, and it was Usyk early and Usyk late for anybody who scored it that way and had it for him. So shout out to Jed. Nice snipe on that call.
Good call. Yeah. I love the rankings that you laid out, New York Rick. I completely agree. High level boxing, no one's touching it. The only MMA fight where I had like the same feeling as like a high level boxing match with like the build, the hype, everything around it, and the fight delivering to the expectations of such a massive fight. The one that always comes to mind is Conor Nate 2. That's the one. Like,
agreed.
It's just
it's up
and down, the pageantry, everything about it. It just felt like a big ass boxing fight feels like. You know what I mean? Like it just feels that way. Like Yuri Glover was incredible, but it wasn't the same like we didn't look at that fight the same way we looked at Conor Nate or Fury Usyk or any of these big boxing matches.
Well, also the stakes, right, of Conor Nate, like that being one of the bigger fights that the UFC can put on. I want to say, like, just to be very clear, right? There's circumstances that create this, right? Boxing having 3-minute rounds as opposed to 5-minute rounds makes it a sprint, right? Now you're going through these rounds quickly and you're advancing, and there's also less time for finishes, right? In MMA, some of these fights, maybe if they were 3-minute rounds, could have been exciting and back and forth, and the finishes came late in the round. So it's a circumstance thing. I'm not trying to compare the quality of fight or fighter. I'm trying to just talk about the way that the stories are able to play out, and across the 12 rounds and with the 3 minutes where it's sprint, and then all of a sudden it's a quick break and you're back in there, and now it's already round 5 before you can even blink. That is just something that MMA doesn't have. And that's not a good, bad, whatever, just my personal preference. That to me is the best version of kind of combat sports storytelling that we have. But yeah, incredible night.
Love it. All right, take a few questions from the peeps, because we're going to be back here in like an hour and a half again. So don't worry about it. Pro fights of this rematch is going to be huge. I can't remember. Did His Eminency say they would try to do the rematch in America on the MAR, or was he talking about another fight?
Yeah, that was His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. That was a different fight. This rematch will happen in Saudi Arabia as part of Riyadh season.
Right. Yeah. And October is what they're looking at?
October, I think, is the date, yeah.
All right. Hey, maybe Jose might jump on a flight. Who knows? Because, man, this
Abu
was
Dhabi in October, too, for the UFC. So
I might just keep him there for a little bit. Okay.
Should AJ fight Joseph Parker to stay active or stay on the sidelines? Now, this is an interesting question.
If I was AJ, I think they have a fight lined up for AJ. They've said explicitly that AJ is going to fight. If I were AJ, I would try to fight as little as possible between now and then. Certainly, I think you want to fight to stay sharp, right? You don't want to be sitting on the sidelines so long that by the time you get your shot, it's not going to look good. But I think you want to fight as little as possible. Don't mind Joseph Parker. Feels dangerous at this point, though. But I mean, like, there's limited options. A lot of these heavyweights are kind of tied up. I think we'll see his potential opponent coming from the 5-on-5 fight series that is happening in June 1st, I believe. So yeah, I think we'll see his potential opponent come from that card. But I think you do one and then kind of like see how far you can stretch without feeling like you're getting rusty. Keep the work going in the gym and then see. It's really going to depend on how that rematch goes in October, and then when they're thinking about and looking at the potential fight between AJ and the winner. Again, I think it gets muddied if it's Usyk, so that's another interesting kind of wrinkle. If it's Fury, man, it'd be hard for them not to do the rematch. Like, is it possible that they skip AJ and Tyson Fury again for a Usyk Fury trilogy? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, but I do think for AJ, you want to limit risk. You want to limit risk because that fight is right there for you. The opportunity of a lifetime is right there for you. So get your work in, but limit risk.
Does AJ try to fight Fury no matter what?
I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. I do think some of the luster is gone, and to me, AJ feels like a championship type of fighter. He feels like he wants to prove his standing in the sport more so than like chase the money. I think the Francis Ngannou fight was a product of just availability, right? Like I think he would have taken a different fight if there was other options available. But because Usyk and Fury were locked up, it kind of left him without a lot of good options. So he strikes me as more of a championship fighter, and I think he will try to chase Usyk again, even if Usyk is the winner. It wouldn't hurt to get some extra money in the bank because that Tyson Fury fight and AJ fight would still be big, but it would lose some luster. It would lose some luster. I think the value of it was really that Fury was this kind of like unslayable guy to counter AJ, who had the ups and downs and the bumps in the road, and then kind of comes back and builds himself back to that fight. So we'll see. I don't think any of those options are bad, nor are they off the table. It's good to be AJ right now as long as you keep winning. He needs to bank that win and then probably kind of assess the situation and see what the landscape looks like.
Yep. I hate even saying this out loud, but you were talking about AJ needs to fight, but needs a safe fight. If Jake Paul defeats Mike Tyson,
oh God, no.
I'm just saying.
You might as well sit. You might as well sit on the sideline instead of take that one. You might as well sit down. That would be the most hilarious way to lose an opportunity at or not even.
Oh my God!
But many belts. That would be the most hilarious way to lose
it. Before we go back to a couple questions, how did on social wise, how did this fight hit in the States? I mean, obviously we're hardcores, so we're watching this live. Is this shaking up the sports world in the US, or is this just a boxing thing? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I definitely knew. Boxing Twitter is like losing their minds, right? Naturally, as you'd expect, on the back of undisputed heavyweight championship. And just the nature of how the fight played out, it didn't quite cross over in the way that some of the other ones did. Even like, obviously when you have a Francis Ngannou in a fight, it crosses over into the MMA space much cleaner and much easier, right? Because everybody kind of wants to see what Francis is doing, plus the result of those two fights, right? Ngannou knocks down Fury, gets a close decision in Fury's favor. Against Joshua, gets absolutely sparked, really brutally. So those things kind of like blew up and hit the space. I'm not seeing as much reaction from the MMA world. Certainly some of the fighters, are talking about it, but like not in a super significant way as we'd see with some of the other things. Not even to the degree of like Tank versus Ryan Garcia or Garcia versus Haney. Like those seem to cross over a little bit more, even with the attention on Ryan Garcia. So this one feels at the moment more of a boxing story. But naturally, as you'd expect, like the boxing fans are going nuts because of what Usyk was able to do.
I'm really kind of curious how this will change the conversation of boxing in the States, and just so we kind of got my answer there. The rematch will be interesting though to see how if there's gonna be if the hype gonna feel the same coming into the rematch, or is it really gonna, I don't know, just take over the American sports world too. Like it's kind of taking over the MMA world, because apparently there's UFC fights going on. That's what someone told me. Someone told me that. There's a rumor. and it's not confirmed.
Heard about that.
Yeah,
I've heard about that.
And actually, sorry, that's an old question. And let's go ahead and put it out there. All right, one more question from our commenters.
Ooh, who's gonna win the rematch?
So who did you have coming into this? Who did you have coming into this?
I had Fury.
Yeah, me too. I have Fury too.
I was leaning him, but I had no confidence either way.
I I think that's the right way. I was leaning Fury, but I wanted to see some things. What I saw in rounds 3 through 7 made me think, okay, this is what I kind of expected, right? When he was outside, he was winning. He wasn't really going inside as much as I thought. The commentary team kind of noted it, like he wasn't using a lot of his weight. He wasn't using a lot of his size. And when he was on the front foot was when he was really successful. He kind of just like never used that enough to my mind, in my eye. Like he was good on the outside. It seemed like he kind of figured some things out. But once he stopped pressing, he became a little bit limited, and Usyk just turned the gas up. Just, the pace was absolutely incredible to be able to do that. I would have to go with Usyk heading into the rematch, just because now I know he can hurt him, and now I know that pace is something that's going to bother Tyson Fury. But the same way I leaned Fury, I only lean Usyk, because if you told me that Fury is able to do what he did in rounds 3 through 7 across 12 rounds, it wouldn't shock me. Like, the game plan is there, the method is there. If he's able to replicate the success he had in those rounds, it really frustrated Usyk at that point. He was whiffing, he was swinging at air. So I lean Usyk just because I've seen it now, right? I know that he can do that, and I know he has the power to hurt Fury as well. And if he keeps on that gas, he's going to have success. But I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked to see Tyson Fury win the rematch. So it's a small lean, just like I had for Fury in the first fight.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Fury again, but not by much.
I don't think that's crazy at all. I think we saw like when for the longest. I'll say this: the longest uninterrupted stretch of dominance came from Tyson Fury from rounds 3 through 7. He completely dominated and controlled that. Usyk and Fury then kind of like, the knockdown was certainly, an off, what's the word? Like an aberration, not an aberration, an outlier.
It was an outlier.
It was an outlier. And then from then on, from rounds, 8 through 12, it was closer. It was competitive. I thought Usyk did the better work, but Fury was still back in that fight. It wasn't quite the domination. The most dominant stretch of long extended period of domination in that fight came from Tyson Fury. So, I don't blame anybody who looks at that and goes, yeah, I think there's a path to victory for Tyson. He's also shown, Deontay Wilder, he gets better. He gets better once he kind of has more data. And so there's a world where Tyson Fury comes out looking better in that rematch. I wouldn't be shocked.
That's actually very true. That's very true.
Oh my God. So I don't know if this changes anything. If this is true, and I would have to believe that it is, Tyson Fury went to the post-fight press conference. Here's what he said. Usyk has gone to the hospital with a broken jaw. We punched the F out of each other for 12 rounds there. Tyson Fury is saying that Usyk's not at the presser because he fought Tyson Fury and beat Tyson Fury with a broken freaking jaw. What a freaking gangster. Oh my God, that is insane.
Yeah, one of the hardest men walking this earth is Usyk.
Yeah.
Like, what more needs to be said? And so, yeah, that would probably factor into it too. If he's fighting with a broken jaw, he could probably look better in the rematch too. So there's so much like intrigue here. Like there's just so many ways to get excited about this potential rematch. Not even potential, it's booked. So, or actually it's not, because Tyson Fury has to declare, right? He has to formally kind of say he wants a rematch. I think we can all assume that he will. But this rematch rules, and it's going to be awesome. And Usyk's a gangster. And Fury's a gangster. Like, a lot of guys would have packed up shop after they got knocked around the way he did by Usyk, and he didn't. And he doesn't. That's kind of what he does. He gets absolutely to the brink of extinction, and then he finds a way to hang in the fight, and he's done it time and time again. So, like, the best two are going to run it back, and we get to watch it. I'm super excited about it.
In the moment when Fury got hit hard and he was doing that kind of wobbly dance, I thought he was messing around at first. I was like, "Oh, he's just joking around." It was
the Anderson Silva thing.
Yeah, like Anderson Weidman. We all thought like, "Oh, look at Silva being silly. Oh, look at him acting like he's knocked out.
Why is he not getting up?
Look at him lying on the ground unconscious. What a silly goose!" Like I gotta say, like, I mean, obviously, no, he got hit hard, and I saw the replay. I was like, "Good Lord, he got hit hard." But initial viewing, I was like, I thought it was just Fury playing around, but like, nope. It's
No.
it was amazing. It was awesome.
Once they started going to the left that direction, and then they went back to the right, I was like, oh, all right, he's toasted right now. Because when you're wobbling back and forth like that, that's no bueno.
Man, he's really selling it.
He got hit with some other shots that were perfect, like clean, super nice shots. That he ate pretty well. Like it was a weird thing because I wouldn't have expected a knockdown in this fight. I would have thought both guys kind of make it the distance without getting knocked down. Great work by Usyk, and to Usyk's credit, it makes sense that he has a broken jaw because some of those uppercuts that Fury were landing, I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those. They were monstrous. Momentum going forward, he just absolutely halted him, and Usyk just ate him. Turns out, like, probably they did a little bit more damage than we all kind of like thought in the moment because he was able to wear it so well. But just two warriors, man, two warriors. And I don't like try to use that word a lot because, like, it's still combat sports, and we're talking about there's larger things happening in the world, but like, dude, left it all out there, laid it everything on the line, and we got to watch it.
Freaking love it! What a fight! What a fight.
Gangster.
Okay.
Usyk.
God, we're good.
Gangster. I think we're good. We'll go watch the rest of the UFC. We'll take a little breather, and then we'll come back after our Edson Barboza and Laurent Murphy.
Laurent Murphy, baby.
Yeah. I mean, I like the fight, but good luck following which is happening in Saudi Arabia. But we're damn sure going to try, and those two guys are going to try. Adrian Yanez, nasty knockout. Apparently, Temba Garimbo just beat Rahimaj in an awful fight because Temba actually apologized to the people afterwards. So that means there's only a couple more left. So we'll take a little break, and then we'll come back and react to that. So for New York Rick, for Casey, get a bowl of popcorn or something. We'll see you in a little while.
Hey, you got the balloons.
Yeah. Why can't I get the things to work?
I don't
no
get
thumbs?
it either. All right. Next time.
I hate this thing.
Worst day.